Hey, it's Lo, and you are listening to Wrestling Winedown. On this week's episode, I have two special guests. Both of the Rest Friends are here to chat with me about the latest in professional wrestling, including our thoughts on NXT TakeOver in your house, as well as the best matches and moments of this week from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. And of course, our newest segment, Sip and Tell. So grab your glass of wine. We're going in for the 3 count. Teddy and Erie, I'm so excited to have you guys here this week so we can sip some wine and talk wrestling.
I'm so excited.
NXT hosted In Your House. This was NXT's first time doing this, and I think they did a pretty good job. What do you guys think about the whole show?
I thought it was really cool. This was the first time that I was exposed to In Your House. I did not watch it, back in the day.
I don't think I was alive back then.
Yeah. I don't think we were. We're a different generation. We were not the In Your House generation. But I thought it was a really, really cool concept. And the fact that, everything's going on right now in the world, it was a really smart play for a pay-per-view. One of my favorite matches was definitely the one that they had outside with Adam Cole and Velveteen with the cars surrounding the ring. I was like, oh my God, that looks so cool. I haven't seen anything like that. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the probably best pay-per-views that I've seen in a while.
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing. I was paying attention here and there, but my boyfriend did watch the entire pay-per-view, and I was just on my phone. It was a good show though. Like, I have no complaints about it. I did think the Adam Cole match was, I don't know, I wasn't the whole camera thing, the whole cinematic thing.
I didn't appreciate it.
I was not a fan of it. No, I wasn't.
It wasn't as crazy as the Boneyard match, okay? That was a lot of camera movement. I think I liked this one better than the Boneyard.
I felt like with the Boneyard match, it seemed a little bit slower in their camera movements. With this one, it felt like it was jump, 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 and I was like, I couldn't pay attention to all of it.
It felt like an action movie.
It did, and then Dexter Lumis coming in, then kidnapping half of the Undisputed Era.
What did you think about the triple threat match for the NXT Women's title?
I really enjoyed that. I think that was my favorite match, honestly. I'm a fan of all three of them, Io, Charlotte, and Rhea. I love all three of them. I really wasn't expecting for Io to win, to be honest. I thought either Charlotte was going to retain or they were going to give it back to Rhea. So that was really cool, very exciting.
I thought it was a good match as well. Like you said, I think no one expected Io to win just because it felt like they were trying to give her the Bianca treatment. Bianca fought for that title so many times, and we all thought, oh, she'll finally win it, and she never did, and now she's at Raw, and it's like she's not really doing much, which is irritating because we see how talented she is, but I'm glad they aren't pulling the same treatment on Io. I think she's so talented, and they mentioned on commentary during the match she's had opportunities for the title before. So I'm glad that she was able to pick the title up, and people were getting a little bit fussy about Charlotte holding another title in WWE. So hopefully that quiets everyone down for a while. But who do you think will go after Io next? I'm thinking Rhea in the grand scheme of things. I don't see Charlotte being a major part of NXT anymore.
No, I think they're moving Charlotte out of there. They just wanted her to elevate the title a little bit. And now she's probably going to go back to SmackDown, probably beef with Sasha and Bailey again. I don't know. They probably would go back to Rhea unless they bring somebody from NXT UK over, maybe Tony Storm. But I don't know what the travel restrictions are with everything.
Right.
So who knows? You're probably right. Probably going to go to Rhea again.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Unless they try to push a new talent or something like Shotzi. I don't know.
I don't see Shotzi going after the title so soon. I think 3-on-3 tag match with the women was really good. I think she does have a strong character in NXT, but I don't see her going for the title yet, if that makes any sense. I think she just got there, and she does have a strong fan presence, but it just seems like it's too early for her.
Do you guys think that Triple H or whoever else has any say, do you think they're very picky on who gets to hold that title?
Because definitely. Why didn't they give it to Bianca?
Right, because they haven't
putting on matches.
Yeah. They haven't just given it to anyone,
I do think they're very picky. I think they're picky with every title, to be honest. And with Adam Cole and Velveteen, I think a lot of people expected Velveteen to win months ago. And then when everything happened on Twitter, people were really unsure about where that left Velveteen, and we still don't know. I think now he's probably going to be out of the title picture, which will make a lot of people assume that something is going on, but I think Adam Cole has been such a dominant champion, and having the backing of the Undisputed Era has really brought him to great lengths in NXT.
Yeah.
And, you know, there were rumors a couple weeks ago that he wasn't going to re-sign with NXT, which honestly, I never saw that not happening, because you see how he is on TV. He's the main character of NXT, and it would just make sense for him to win the match with Velveteen at NXT in your house. But is Dexter Lumis next? That's all I'm asking. We saw on NXT this week, he's haunting Roddy, and Roddy's over here losing his mind. Bobby Fish and Adam are like, you need to chill out. First of all, where is Kyle at?
Yes. That's what I was asking my boyfriend, because I'm like, maybe because of coronavirus, because we do know he's diabetic. So I'm guessing that's why he's not around.
Maybe he's at home. Maybe they're doing it strategically. They're trying to change his character. Are they going to break up the Undisputed Era? Who knows? Because what are they going to do when they call up Adam Cole? Are they going to call all of them up? Or is it just going to be Adam and they're just going to let, you know, these other three defend for themselves in NXT?
I don't know if you guys noticed during the promo at the beginning where it was Adam Cole, Bobby, and Roddy in the ring. And there's this rule in wrestling. You're not supposed to look directly in the camera. I thought I was like crazy at first, but Roddy kept on looking into the camera. And I'm like, is he supposed to do that? And then I noticed Bobby wasn't doing it, and then Adam did. And I was like, okay, maybe they're doing something new here. But did you guys notice that at all?
I didn't
either. And you know what? But at this point, all of these rules are thrown out the window because you don't have any fans.
Right.
I don't know if they told them like, oh, you can look into the camera now, or, you know, try not to, but it happened anyway. This could be like maybe a strategic signaling that they're doing. Are they trying to like Morse code this on camera? Who knows?
During the segment, we saw Adam Cole proclaim that he is the most dominant man at NXT. I can't argue with that. How are we feeling about Dexter Lumis? I thought this was a really good match. It showed off the mysterious character that Dexter is, and he did good with Adam. Adam Cole ended up picking up the win, but we saw Scarlett come out at the end of the match and drop the hourglass off at the ring, and I like the symbolism there. I think they did a really good job at making Adam Cole scared of what's coming in his future. But like we just mentioned with the women's division, do we think that Karrion Kross is going to pick up this NXT title? I've seen people saying that it might be as early as SummerSlam that he'll have the NXT championship. I still think it's a little too soon for him. What do you guys think?
They're pushing him too soon.
Really hard.
Oh yeah. I definitely think it's too soon.
I think they might have him do something with Velveteen, but I don't know. Adam's time is running out, you know, according to them and to Scarlett. They could do a lot of things with it, honestly, but I don't think it's too soon. They're giving, for the push that they're giving him with the crazy entrance that he has, with the monster, you know, he's a giant. So who knows? I think they might have him take the belt from Adam.
The thing with Karrion Kross is it just feels like he just got there, and I think that's why I'm kind of like, you know, I don't really know how to feel about it. I think if Velveteen wouldn't have gotten mixed up with everything happening online, he probably would have held the title, because he has such a captivating character that a lot of fans like, and we've all been scared for Velveteen to move up to the main roster because we think that his character is going to get watered down, or he's going to be something that he's not. But at this point, we don't really know where this leaves him. I mean, he interfered with Adam Cole versus Dexter Lumis. We saw him attack some of the members of the UEs. He was attacking Roddy specifically. So I'm thinking, are they going to go back to that storyline with Roddy and Velveteen, with him talking about Marina? I feel like that was cut way too short.
Oh, that was a great story.
Yeah, but it seemed like it just ended so soon. It had that build, and it seemed like they're going towards the right direction. And then they were like, oh, actually Velveteen's going to challenge Adam Cole for the NXT championship. And it made no sense.
Yeah, they could be. I think that they also might have not put the title on Velveteen because of that, you know, that drama that we had a while back. So maybe they were kind of testing the waters of like, are people still fans of Velveteen? And that's why they didn't. They just wanted to see if, you know, we supported him still. Even though nothing, you know, we didn't hear anything else about the story. So,
well, also too, I was thinking maybe they're trying to phase him out, But if they were trying to phase him out, why was he on NXT on Wednesday? So just different things like that. It seems like it's not clear, but I'm sure in time we'll see, some development of what's going on with him and his character. We also saw in character development this week, Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae faced off against Keith Lee and Mia Yim. This was a really good match. We were waiting for it to happen. I think it was a fun match that we all enjoyed. We definitely don't see mixed tag matches in NXT a lot, so it was something different. And we did see some moments, with the men and the women interacting with each other, and that brings up the question of intergender wrestling. And we know Candice LeRae has done a lot of that on the independent scene. A lot of people want that in WWE, and there's a lot of people that just don't. They don't agree with it. Do you guys think that this is a step towards intergender wrestling in WWE with this match, or do you think they were just a coincidence?
Man, I really hope so. I really, really hope it is. That would be very cool, and I feel like NXT would be the perfect platform to introduce intergender wrestling to the fans. I feel like NXT fans are would be more accepting than main roster fans and people that just watch Raw and SmackDown.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of intergender wrestling and mixed tag team matches. They're my favorites. I think they're super entertaining to watch. We know WWE had the mixed tag challenge for a little bit, but if NXT started doing intergender matches, I feel like that would really give them a one-up over AEW because, people have been pushing a lot for AEW to also do intergender wrestling because they're so forward and so innovative, but they haven't yet. So if NXT would kind of jump the bullet and do it first, I think that would be really, really cool. And Candice would be the perfect person to have these types of matches. Candice can go, we've seen it. So, and she's had intergender wrestling matches before. So I would be excited if NXT starts to do it. I'm all for it.
On Raw this week, we saw the return of the Peep Show with Christian. His guest was his longtime friend Edge, and this is ahead of the quote-unquote greatest wrestling match ever between Edge and Randy Orton at Backlash, which is a very strong statement by the WWE to make, but we'll go with it. Randy Orton said that this is going to be the end of his former friend, and as we know, Backlash is happening pretty soon. Who do we think is winning this match? I see Edge winning this match because I think he's had such a strong return, and I don't see Randy Orton winning. I feel like he's a lot of talk when it comes to this stuff, and he does do well in the ring. I won't say that he doesn't, but I think Edge is going to come out on top during this match. What do you guys think?
No, I definitely see Edge winning. I feel like he's been bringing more into the storyline than Randy Orton. He's been talking a lot about his story, his past, and I see Edge winning. I hope he wins.
Yeah, same. I think Edge is going to take it. Just because he's, I think, the bigger star in this story. And Randy's probably got another 5 years, probably 10 years of wrestling. He does not need this win.
Report? Did you read the report that just came out about him? He wants to wrestle until he's 50.
Yeah.
So he has a long time to go.
He's got a lot of time to win matches, and I don't think this needs to be one of them. I think Edge winning in the last match that they had at, what was it, WrestleMania when they had their match?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this one would also just be another good win for Edge because he's been cutting these promos. I'm like, okay, sir, let's get it. I'm ready to see some spears.
We also saw Asuka versus Charlotte Flair. This was a good match. Seeing Charlotte come on Raw the night after she lost her NXT championship to Io, it was an interesting spot. We saw a lot of involvement in this match. We saw Sasha Banks, we saw Bayley, we saw the Iconics, and then we saw Nia Jax come out and lay out Asuka with a Samoan drop. And as you know, Asuka's going up against Nia Jax at Backlash, so it added to their feud. But how did we feel about this match? How do we feel about all of the involvement with the other women superstars and Nia Jax at the end?
There was just a lot going on. It just reminded me of it's the main event. Let's just have everybody go out there. It's like a brawl, send everybody in the locker room, all the women go. And that's just what it reminded me of. I'm like, guys, we don't need everybody out there, just the people that are having the match. Thank you. It's not a lumberjack match.
Which we haven't had one of those in a very long time.
Oh my God. I would love to have one of those matches, but also coronavirus. You never know.
Right.
I feel like the thing that stood out to me the most during this whole thing was Nia Jax. I know there's been some very controversial.
She's the talk of the town.
Right. Going on about her. And I don't know. I did not think they were gonna have Nia Jax come out and do anything with Asuka. I feel
You
like
think you think they would have given her a week off after the whole Kyrie incident or
I
something?
mean, I would expect more than a week off after the whole Kyrie accident, you know?
Do you think Nia
Um,
Jax is going to pick up this Raw Women's Championship? Asuka just got this title,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like, last year with Asuka, she really got screwed if we think about it. It seemed like she won the Royal Rumble. She should have won her match and had that championship, and she really didn't. I felt like she really just didn't shine the way that she should have, and she was very dominant in NXT. And then it seemed like once she got up to the main roster, it was one of the cases of we don't know what to do with this talent, so we're going to try to throw it in a couple of storyline directions and see what sticks. And her and Kyrie, they were a very good tag team, but it seemed like, again, WWE did not know how to book the women's tag team championships. And now it seems like they kind of know what they're doing with Sasha and Bayley, but it confuses me because I thought Sasha and Bayley were going to square off at SummerSlam, but it seems like
mhm.
SummerSlam is right around the corner and they're going to be tag team champions. So only, I don't know if you guys remember Shawn Michaels and John Cena, when they faced off, they were tag team champions. That's the last time I can remember that happening. So I don't know if WWE is trying to go for that storyline again, or maybe they just kind of nixed that idea because there probably isn't going to be a crowd at SummerSlam. That's definitely a match or a storyline and match that you would want build from the audience.
Yeah, a lot of things that WWE does confuse me, honestly. Um, Going back to the whole Nia Jax situation, I definitely think it's too soon. Nia Jax is one of those people that I think they called up too soon. She could bring up a lot to the plate if they would have just let her stay in NXT and have more practice, I guess. What would we benefit from having Nia Jax as a champ right now? Besides, a lot of fans wouldn't even be happy. A lot of fans don't like her because of everything she's been causing in the ring. You know what I mean? I'm a fan of hers, but I don't know about her lately.
Maybe they could pull a Charlotte with her and just send her back to NXT. I think that would be great. She would do great with the women on the roster right now. For Nia, I don't know. I'm waiting for them to put the belt on Natty. Where's Natty's chance? Natty is so good,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she's a veteran, and she helps out all these women in the ring. And where's her championship? I understand that she's like not the best on the mic, but you're entertained when you watch Natty, and she's like, hi, like. Are you not entertained? I'm always entertained when I watch Natty.
Teddy, I think that brings up a point that I had talked about earlier this week on Twitter with Bianca. And I had read that she's on main event and she's working matches. And it made me wonder, well, why is she on main event when she was just on NXT? They could have kept her in NXT if they weren't going to use her on the main roster. And someone tweeted us and they said that this is typically how WWE does with talent. They send them to or they bring them up from NXT and then they send them to main event to work a couple matches. And I was like, I don't think that sounds right. So I asked a question, just wondering, I wasn't really aware of anything like that in the WWE. And a lot of people said no. You see Lacey Evans, they brought her up right from NXT. She hasn't gone a main event. She's been on SmackDown consistently. There's other people too, but if they're thinking about strengthening characters or working on ring work, I feel like Nia Jax would be the perfect person to send to main event. Not only would it strengthen her in-ring skills, but it might take the heat off of her a little bit with all of these fans because the fans are pissed that she continually keeps injuring people or being unsafe in the ring. And I don't know if she's being unsafe or not. I can tell you that from a fan perspective, watching it looks unsafe, but as being a wrestler or something like that, I can't comment on that because I'm not a wrestler. But
Right.
that might be Nia Jax's best choice at this point, is to go down to main event, work some matches. I know Ruby Riott is on there. There's a couple of other women that are on there that are really talented that if WWE knew how to properly book the women, they would be on Raw every week. Might be an unpopular opinion, but what about having Charlotte on main event? If you're trying to elevate these shows that you think need attention, why not go with Charlotte on main event? Why not have a couple of the women who have been working matches on main event come to Raw and have their time to shine and grow from there?
Right. I agree with everything you just said.
I don't know. Even if Charlotte was on main event, I'd be like, I don't know. Do I really feel like watching main event? Who knows? I don't even know when it comes on, who's on it, what's happening. Like I know it happens like when we go to like a live show, like it happens before or after, but it's like one match, right? One or two matches.
they usually film 1 to 2 matches, I think, after Raw or after SmackDown. Like, they don't film the whole show at once.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of like a recap show because they show what has happened during the week on the other shows. So,
Okay. I know it's on Hulu, but I've never.
Okay, but if Charlotte is on it, they're like, oh, Charlotte's going to have a match this time. Are you going to watch it?
I think it would draw a lot of fan attention. I think if they really
I
wanted to
think
get
so, too.
ratings up and
Right.
have people watch these superstars that have been called up and not utilized yet or properly, they could get fan interaction by saying Charlotte Flair is going to be on there, or maybe like Kevin Owens or someone that you
Yeah.
wouldn't expect to be on there. Then people will be like, oh, I have to watch it this week. That's the only way that they would build and allow fans to really view main event. I'd be interested in knowing their ratings and how they do, how many viewers watch main event.
Mm-hmm. You know what? They could maybe turn it into a YouTube, just like strictly YouTube, you know, like main event. All right, guys.
Don't give your ideas out for free.
Just put out here. Are you listening to it? Watch in like a year, maybe like 2 months. They're going to be like, oh my God, it's now available on YouTube. Because, you know, AEW puts their shows, AEW Dark, on YouTube, and it's all free.
Mm-hmm.
So if they want the ratings and if they want people's interest, nothing's easier these days than a YouTube video.
Let's talk about interest in the form of Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. What the hell is going on?
I'm so upset.
This whole storyline with Jeff Hardy has been very controversial. I'll be the first one to say I really don't like it. I think Jeff Hardy probably signed off on this storyline. I doubt that he didn't. But this is personal. You know, Jeff Hardy has had a lot of issues with DUI and drinking and stuff like that. And it's all over the dirt sheets if you're not aware of it. But bringing that to a storyline, I just felt like wasn't necessary. And now we're seeing this week on SmackDown, him and Sheamus are taking urine tests.
I can't.
And then Jeff Hardy threw the urine in Sheamus's face. First of all, how do you explain that to someone who doesn't watch wrestling?
Right.
First of all, did you see how much urine that was?
That was like, apple juice, girl. He is dehydrated if his pee is that dark.
Have you not peed in months? Like, that was a lot.
That was, yeah. I feel like everything about that whole segment was just off, way off.
From the beginning, I feel like this storyline was meant to fail and to offend. Because I remember watching Renee outside, like reporting live from outside of, you know, the Performance Center, wherever we're at. And then Jeff being arrested, I was like, what the hell is happening? And then the cops pulled out the bottle from the car, and I'm like, no, this is not where they're going. Please tell me that this is not where they're going. I was so upset. I'm like, okay, we've watched Jeff Hardy struggle inside and outside of the ring because of his alcohol problems and his substance abuse. It's just like, how rude, how disrespectful, what a terrible storyline. It's just really poor taste, I think.
I think something like this would have worked in the 90s, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
I think it would have been cool in the 90s because it's something, you know, that probably could have caught a lot of people's attention. But now I feel like in the world we live in, it's not acceptable. And
it's insensitive.
It's insensitive. And seeing a man arrested too with everything that's going on, it just read the room, okay?
Yeah.
But who do we think is winning at Backlash? Do we think Sheamus is going to pick up the win here, or do we think Jeff Hardy is? I'm going with Sheamus. I think ever since he's come back, WWE has been very high on him.
I feel like that's the path they're going to go with. I mean, look at what they're already doing with Jeff Hardy. If Jeff Hardy loses, I'm not going to be surprised at all.
But at the same time, too, it's like they're kind of coining this run with Jeff as like almost his last run. I don't know if you've really been paying attention to the commentary.
So sad if it's the last thing that he gets.
Like, why are you guys doing this storyline specifically for his last run in WWE?
They could have done so many things. I was hoping that he would have gotten one more run with the Intercontinental Championship. He would have been so great. I feel so bad for him.
I feel so bad. That's exactly what I was about to say. I feel very bad.
So bad. You just see it on his face even, like a little bit of disappointment, or maybe he's just really selling it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, this week on SmackDown, it wasn't as good of a show as it usually is to me, because we also saw the SmackDown Tag Team Champions New Day. Kofi Kingston and Big E came to the ring. They took a knee and rose a fist in the name of equality and Black Lives Matter. And I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen it on Instagram. I've seen it on Facebook. This is a great moment. And it's one that will definitely be remembered. But then they lost the match.
I can't. I can't.
How? They were against Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro. And I'm not saying that Shinsuke and Cesaro are not great athletes, because I've said it time and time again, they are. But
they could have taken a loss. I get you. They could have taken it. Why not give it to the New Day? Oh my God. I feel like they're just not hitting it these days. There's some things that WWE does right, and you're just like, oh man, that was really, really cool. But with these storylines that are happening right now and the way these matches are going, I don't even know what to think.
Do you think, too, that it has to do with the fans not being in the arena? I know that the NXT talent are around the ring, but do you think if there were fans in the arenas that you would feel a little bit differently about these storylines that are happening right now, or do you think you would feel the same? I've heard a lot of people say that WWE doesn't really feel the same with not having the fans there. And, you know, some of the different moments that we've seen with, like, Io winning the championship, or a bunch of other moments that have happened, it would have been more elevated with the fans there.
I'm interested to see maybe if the Jeff Hardy storyline would be taken differently if there was an audience there, if we would all boo collectively, or like chant CM Punk or something, you know, or how it would be received by the crowd. Because I know if I was there, I would be booing, but I can't read the WWE audience sometimes.
I feel like, I know this is gonna sound messed up, but I don't have much hope in WWE. I don't know who's up here, if it's the writers, if it's Vince McMahon that's like, no, you know, this is what's gonna happen.
How old is Vince now? He's got to be like, what, 80, 90? Is he 70? I don't know. He's
in
old,
his 70s,
right?
Yeah, he's in his 70s.
Yeah.
And
God, you know he's got like 20 years left for sure.
But a lot of people have been skeptical for a while now when it comes to these storylines with Vince, because it feels like he's almost tone deaf to the stuff going on.
Yes.
I did read specifically with Mandy Rose and Otis. So we know that a woman was leading that whole storyline, and she was fired because of everything that happened with coronavirus. And now you're seeing these different promos and stuff, and you can tell it's being produced by other people, and it's not as tasteful. And it makes you wonder, like, how many of these storylines are being produced by these, you know, lower level writers that just came in that we really like, and how many are being produced by these people that have been in the business for many years that we're just like, we can't stand it.
Right. I know. I always think, like, I really wonder what goes through Vince McMahon's head.
You know, I think, too, it's a generational thing. I think he sees what has worked in the past and thinks that he can revive similar stuff now, and it just doesn't hit the same way it used to. You know, the younger generation now, we're more in tune with things that are inappropriate. There's different things that if they happen now that happened in the 90s, we'd be like, oh, absolutely not. Specifically, I think of like the bra and panties matches and the swimsuits, stuff like that with the women. That wouldn't fly now. Now, 2006, before then, it was like everyone loved it. And two, I think it's also the demographic of the audience. Back then, I feel like it was more men watching wrestling, and they wanted to see that stuff. Now you have women watching wrestling, and you have women actually putting on great matches and having great storylines. So I think it's definitely a generational thing, and I also think it has to do with the demographics. Let's also talk about this Intercontinental Championship tournament final with AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan. I think that was the best match on SmackDown this week. I think a lot of people were surprised that AJ Styles picked up the win here, since online it was swirling earlier this week that Brie Bella leaked the finish of this match when she posted Daniel Bryan's name plates or title plates on his new Intercontinental Championship. I think it was still a good match. This was what a lot of people wanted to see. It's one of those dream matches, and I think they did a good job with it. I think Sami Zayn's going to come back and whoop AJ Styles, and I can't wait to see it. I think, as I've said before, Sami Zayn did not lose his championship, and this whole tournament honestly was, I think, just for entertainment. You see the other championships that have been defended because their title holders are in another country or they're not competing right now, and like Jordan Devlin, for example. But he's still the title holder. The title holder right now is just almost like a secondary holder, like a filler until Jordan Devlin is able to come and compete in the United States or NXT is able to go to the UK. So for them to do Sammy like this, and he's been with the company for so long, make it make sense. It doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And Sammy's so good on Twitter, and he's talking about, already coming back for that championship. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do. If they let him, please give him back that belt. I feel like he's so good. His character is great. In the ring, he's just like incredible. But I don't know if Brie might have just been given those pictures and told to like, oh, here, put them up. Or, and take them down really quick as to like to throw us off of who was going to win. Because you never know these days.
Finally, we have another match at Backlash that I really want to get you guys' opinion on. Bobby Lashley is going up against Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Who do we think is winning here? It only seems logical to keep the title on Drew, but it seems like they're trying to push Bobby Lashley to the moon at this point. Having MVP involved, it seems like they're trying to just elevate Bobby Lashley. And I saw a picture that he had posted from like 10 years ago of his last WWE Championship opportunity. He hasn't aged, first of all, but do we think it's his time? I was just thinking the other day, like, has Bobby Lashley ever really had a character?
Yeah.
I feel like he's always just been a strong man. That's been his character. We've seen him involved with other people, but he's always had this strong man character. He's never had any character development. And here with MVP as his manager, I almost feel like it's the first time that we're really seeing something that we might actually like. Now, I know you're probably thinking, well, he was with Lana last year. Okay, he was with Lana last year, but what did that do for him? It didn't do anything.
Really.
And what did that do for Lana? Nothing. That whole storyline with them was just crazy. But I do think that Drew's going to take it this time. I don't see Bobby Lashley as a huge star right now, probably because they just put him with MVP. And MVP's got personality for everybody. He's got enough for everyone in the room. So I'm glad that they put him with Bobby because Bobby was just not doing it for me. I was really struggling to take him seriously, especially after that whole Lana thing. Yeah, I knew he could fight, but I was just like, he's not like, I wouldn't buy like a Bobby Lashley shirt. Like I'm not like in love with the kid. So I don't know what they were doing, but I am excited to see where they're going to go now that MVP is his manager because MVP is really selling him.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not sold on Bobby Lashley. I never really was. I see Bobby Lashley like a Braun Strowman. Like they're just strong. You know what I mean? They don't really bring much to the ring.
But at least Strowman can talk on the mic. I feel like Bobby's not good at promos.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're right. Sure. So I really hope that Drew McIntyre retains. I feel like it would be too soon. If they want to go with Bobby Lashley, maybe let his character, whatever's going on with MVP, grow more. Because like you said, I mean, the whole Lana thing, I mean, I kind of forgot about that. Like you guys said, it didn't do much for him. So maybe let him grow and then hopefully give him the title later on.
Also, Liv Morgan was part of that story. I just remembered.
Yes, she was. Yeah, they were saying that.
Do you remember she was like Lana's lover?
Oh, with Lana. I think you're talking about now with the whole MVP. Oh, yeah. You're right.
That was just a hot mess. We're going to forget about that.
Let's get into our newest segment, Sip and Tell. It was reported this week that AJ Styles, who recently moved to the SmackDown brand from Raw, moved to SmackDown because he didn't get along with now former executive director Paul Heyman, as well as not being able to handle the locker room banter that would make fun of his belief in politics and conspiracy theories. As we know, AJ is very conservative, and there are a lot of people that are in the locker room that are very conservative, but there are a lot that aren't, and I guess they've been clowning him for it, but how are we feeling about this? I mean, I think AJ Styles is such an incredible athlete, and he's had tenure in Impact as well as WWE now and the independent circuit, but why was he not getting along with Paul Heyman?
I can't imagine how that went on.
I cannot believe they bullied him out of the locker room.
Right, like really just
like okay, AJ, for real.
I feel like most conservatives stand their ground. You know what I mean? So I don't see AJ Styles like I'm gonna leave because people don't like my political views. That's
but I also
weird to me.
viewed AJ Styles being, as he's older than a lot of the superstars and he has wrestled for a long time, is almost a locker room leader. So it really doesn't make sense
Right.
that he jumped to SmackDown because they were making fun of him. So it makes you wonder, like, what's really going on in the locker room? Now, this could totally be false, be fooling us, but I've seen a lot of people talk about this for the last week, and it's been pretty shocking. There have also been talk that he moved because he felt like the executives could have done a little bit more in speaking up for Anderson and Gallows before they were released.
And you know what? That's really interesting because we hear AJ talk about Gallows and Anderson saying that he felt like they were under his wings and he could have maybe done more, but also that people could have talked about them more, could have maybe like fought for them. And I feel like maybe he feels like they just let them go and maybe he feels responsible for it. But I don't know. I don't know what to think.
Not that there's that rumor of him, being bullied out of Raw and he's on SmackDown now. I wonder if the reason he feels even worse about Luke and Carl is that, does he feel lonely now? Does he feel like, oh, my best friends are not here anymore?
There's nobody to back him
like,
up with these arguments, or
like,
nobody.
no, I'm thinking.
Or nobody to tell him, hey, bro, let's go outside and let's not say these rude things,
Well, what I think is it's interesting that he thinks that these executives could have talked up for Gallows and Anderson, but there were a lot of other superstars that have been there longer than both of those superstars that were let go too. So what makes him think that those executives would have talked up for those two rather than Hawkins or Ryder or anyone like that? And then it also makes me think about how Drake Maverick was treated and how his whole thing ended up being a storyline. Let's just talk about that for a second, because I feel like that was almost disrespectful in a way. People are losing their jobs out here. They're emotional about losing their jobs, especially when they have to care for a family or their significant other. And they turned it into a whole storyline and ended up signing him again. And it wasn't good, in my opinion. I felt like they could have done better with it because they almost made it seem like Drake Maverick is wrestling for his last chance in the WWE. He ended up not winning the match, but they signed him anyway. And it's like, okay, are you going to give these same opportunities to these other superstars that you literally let go? No, you're not.
And you know what? It's exactly like you said, that WWE doesn't really know how to read a room, because why would you do like an insensitive storyline like about that? I know Zach mentioned that also, that after being fired, that WWE asked him if they could use his pool for SmackDown.
I saw that.
I'm like, bro, how are you going to do that?
So to give you guys the gist of the story that we're talking about, there's a report last week that came out that Zack Ryder, after he was fired, WWE had contacted his girlfriend, fiance, Chelsea Green, who is a member of the NXT roster, to use her pool and his pool for a segment with Otis and Mandy. And this was a segment that we were talking about earlier that just wasn't hitting right. And it made him irritated because he worked for WWE for so long that they didn't have the common courtesy to ask him to use the pool rather than Chelsea, who has only been there a couple months. And that's what rubbed him the wrong way, which I completely agree with him. I would be livid if that happened to me, because it's like, you guys know me, worked with you for many years now, and you want to use my pool? Great, ask me. It's I don't know. Read the room.
Rude.
Once again.
Are you going to fire me and then ask to use my pool? First of all, no.
But then did you read the end of the story? He said that, I guess, some strange coincidence happened and Otis ended up coming over anyway with a bunch of other superstars, and Zach ended up really liking Otis and thought that he was a great guy. So
you know what? Also, maybe the superstars got together and they were like, oh, well, that's rude that you're asking to use his pool. Wasn't this guy just fired? Maybe we should all go over there and, talk to this guy and be friends with him. Like, because what rude company we work for.
Also this week, Evolve. This company has been involved with WWE, and they've had a lot of talent that have come up to the WWE. First person that I can think of is Austin Theory, but there has been a lot of talks in the past recent weeks about a relationship or agreement between Evolve and WWE. Evolve has been suffering major financial issues with the canceling of the WrestleMania week. It was catastrophic for them, leading to the promotion going very quiet. We haven't heard anything from them. So there have been reports that Evolve is ready to sell their tape library and all of their assets to WWE, but WWE and Evolve are both not commenting on it. And I mean, I think this is a good opportunity for Evolve and WWE because you have that tape. You have more footage that can go on the network. So if you want to charge people $9.99 a month to sign up for the WWE network, you get your first 90 days free. You might get a pay-per-view. You also might get some Evolve tape.
Look at that
It adds to
advertising.
the
Look
deal.
at it.
And seeing that they have signed a lot of the Evolve talent and, they've had shows with them before, it makes sense from a business standpoint, and maybe it might help Evolve financially. I mean, you never know with these wrestling companies, these smaller wrestling companies, their financial status. I mean, it's a little bit easier with AEW and WWE just because they're larger companies and, their business is all over out on the internet. But these smaller companies, you never know. So I hope this helps them. I think that they've had a lot of very good talent involved in Evolve. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like a lot of people are scared that if WWE does buy Evolve, they're scared that, of course, McMahon or, they ruin the whole thing and Evolve changes. But let's hope not. Let's hope it just helps them in a financial viewpoint. And because, like you said, they have a lot of amazing talent. So I hope it's good for them. I really hope Evolve isn't
I don't think
one.
it'll be ruined. I also think that it could just help Evolve to get more of an audience. We've been to an Evolve show. We've seen Austin Theory there. We've seen Shotzi. And I thought WWE already kind of owned Evolve because they always have WWE superstars at Evolve shows doing signings and things like that. I think this is just another great partnership. This could probably be like the sister of NXT. It's going to be Evolve and NXT together. They're very indie. They're Evolve being more indie, if anything. But I think this is exciting. WWE would definitely benefit from this. And Evolve, I would love to see them keep going. I don't want to see that, indie show gone. So also this week, something happened in one of the segments involving Jeff Hardy and Sheamus, where they had to, take a urine test. But a lot of people on Twitter are so good that they found out that this doctor who did the urine test was a doctor they got from Fiverr. And Fiverr is a website where you can just hire people to do things. And first of all, how unprofessional do you have to be to go on Fiverr and hire some random person to do this?
Play a doctor.
To
administer a urine test.
Are you serious? I don't even know what to think about this. Rest friend, would you go on Fiverr if you had a company to hire somebody to do a fake urine test?
If I was WWE, no.
Why would you just not pick somebody backstage and be like, hey, you're just going to stand here and you're going to hold this apple juice real quick until Jeff Hardy takes it from you?
Right. Oh, that's funny.
I hope he ups his rates on Fiverr after this. He's been on national television.
Why? There's no need for a company that has so much money. Why would you spend it here? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I think WWE was just trying to...
They don't do that for the security that they have when Goldberg comes out. They get other wrestlers, Why would you have not gotten a upcoming wrestler, if anything, to do this? Nobody's going to remember this segment. Nobody's going to remember the doctor standing there. This is not street cred.
WWE is just trying to help those in need, I guess, but they should have helped those that were employed by them. That's all. They were
employed by them, right?
Teddy and I were on the AEW Heels call, and it was really interesting because, first of all, this one was free. The first one we had to pay $20, I believe, for it. Mm-hmm. And this one we had a Q&A with Nyla Rose, but Nyla was kind of just talking about, how she felt the first time that she got the championship and what it meant to her growing up and not see someone like her in the ring. So she wants to be that person for other people now, which I think is great.
It's so cute.
Nyla is so great, and she gets so much hate, and it's just unfair because I think she's just fantastic the way she, represents herself and what she represents, in general. So that was pretty interesting. That was I think the first thing that we did. Oh no, the first thing that we did was we talked to one of the women who does like, what does she do, like crisis help for AEW?
Yeah, because they mentioned, like, the first thing that Brandy mentioned when it all started was the whole Hana Kimura's death, and how people are still coping with that. So she's like, we're gonna bring in someone to talk to you guys about how to cope with it, how to help you not necessarily move on, but
with everything that's happening right now, with how to deal with
everything
stress.
That's happening, right? Everything.
And
like that was a really cool. That was, a lot of people can't afford to go see a therapist or go or talk to someone on how to cope and help you with, like what we said with Kimura's suicide and the pandemic that's going on, and then everything else. So she gave us a lot of information.
There was a whole PowerPoint. It was really, really helpful. Just kind of like, stress tips and what you should be doing and how to handle it. And it was just really well explained. I felt like I was back at school and I was just being counseled on how to handle my feelings. And it was great because, first of all, I cannot afford counseling, let me tell you. So and the fact that AEW Heals is taking time to acknowledge, our feelings and what the world is going through right now is just fantastic. I feel like WWE is doing nothing like this. Other companies are doing nothing like this where they're helping out women specifically. So I think this is just amazing.
Yeah, that was really cool. And going back to the whole Nyla thing, me being someone who loves gossip, she mentioned how there's some people backstage that still don't accept her. And she's like, maybe they never will. Maybe they will someday. She's like, I don't know. Maybe they already have, but they don't know how to come to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, I wonder who's being mean to her. Like who isn't accepting Nyla? Like that just made me think like, oh man, I wish you would have given us some names.
Yeah, but we also had an auction for one of the jackets that Brandy wore on AEW. So there was that auction that was happening, but it's just, I think, a really, really great experience. There's always like at least 200 people on the call, and it's just always a good time. Yeah, I don't feel like
it's like a fun little girl chat, like little slumber party chat on Zoom with a bunch of girls you don't know.
Yes, and then we had a makeup tutorial with their head makeup artist, Stella K. Yes, I love her. Oh my God. We got taught how to do Hikaru Shida's makeup, and oh my gosh, she's just so good. I can't wait to try that because honestly, it's just all like girl vibes. It's all we love wrestling, and it's just, I think it's super entertaining. And the fact that this one was free, I was like, yes, please.
Thank you, Teddy and Erie from the Rest Friends podcast for joining me today on Wrestling Winedown.
Well, I'm so excited. Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you for tuning into another episode of Wrestling Winedown. You can find all of our other episodes available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and wherever else you listen to your podcast.
You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at WWDcast. That is at WWDCAST.
Let us know what you thought about the episode. What was your favorite part?
We upload episodes every week.
Until next time, enjoy your wine and, of course, enjoy your wrestling. Cheers!